Hi everyone, my name is Jamie and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you find something that you like. So it's been about 4 weeks since I last talked to you guys. A lot has happened. I have a lot to show you. I have a lot of finishes that are FFOs. I have new starts. I have a haul galore. I have whips. I have so much. And then I have a little talk and just kind of a little catch up of what's going on in my life as we're going throughout the video here. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it and get started with my FFOs. So my first FFO, I actually showed in my last video. It is the October monthly weigh-in by Stitching with the Housewives. And this is how I finished it. So I finished it with a fabric from Sweet Fire Road from the Spellbound collection. And then I put magnets on the back here and magnets on my piece so that way it just snaps right in and interchangeable. I am part of the club, so I use the called for thread, which is Classic Colorworks, and then I'm using the called for fabric as well, which is a Monaco tea dye. And this is how it turned out, and I think it looks so good. I'm very happy with this one. And that was my October monthly weigh-in. My next finish was also a new start. I started this for 2 reasons. One, it was my October new month new start. And then 2, it was part of the Spoopy Kitten Sal that Chinook Crafter and Stitchy Wren over on Instagram is hosting. Well, was hosting, I should say. And this was what I did for it. So I did the cat Halloweenies from the Prairie Schooler. And I love how this turned out. I turned it into a pillow. This is what the back looks like. And so I put a hole here. I filled it with poly pellets and then I filled it with stuffing, polyfill, and I turned it inside out and put a felt patch over it. Used some fabric that I had from my stash. I don't know what this is called, unfortunately. Like I said, just fabric I had in my stash. But I did stitch this on a 32 count Charles Craft linen antique white that I also had in my stash, and this is how it turned out. And again, I love how this turned out. This just sits in my dough bowl that I have on my table, and it just is the perfect addition to a little nice terrorizing little cat for the holiday season. All right, and that one was the Halloweeny cat. My next FFO is one that I found on Pinterest, and it was a pixel art that I took to the store, took to Michael's, and floss converted DMC colors with it, and this is how it turned out. This is the Mandalorian, and I used a 14 count white aida. I use DMC colors. I will list the DMC colors in the description. I'm not sure off the top of my head which ones that I used. And then I had leftover fabric in my stash as finishing, and I turned it into a magnet. And this one is for my brother-in-law for Christmas. And this one was a quick one. It took me about 2 days, 2 work days, and I love how it turned out. Super cute. And then my next FFO I started, and it is Candy Corn by Stitching with the Housewives. And this is what mine looks like. So for this one, I used a little scrap piece of fabric from Witch's Garden Crafts called This Is Halloween. And I used just some thread I had in my stash. I did just a stash conversion of it, of the of the thread, stash conversion of the thread. And then I finished it using the easel method from Fat Quarter Shop. The one change I did to the stitching was around candy corn is supposed to have a fill-in. I opted out of the fill-in so that way I could showcase more of the fabric behind. And then to the easel method, I added, instead of 4 sticky boards, I did 5 because I wanted rickrack around. So I finished it with rickrack, the same spellbound fabric by Sweet Fire Road, and then just some candy corn fabric I had in my stash, and turned it into a little easel that it just sits up. And I love this one. This was so easy to do. The pattern itself was so easy. Stitching with the Housewives patterns, as you guys know, I love just because of the ease of them, and how much I just like the style. And then this method was definitely something I will be doing again. I loved doing this as the easel method. It was just so easy. Couldn't say better things about it. And I will link that tutorial again down below for you guys if you wanted to check it out. Again, very easy to follow. So that is Candy Corn by Stitching with the Housewives. And then my last new start / FFO, I actually finished this just a couple hours ago when I was on my lunch. So I finished this and FFO'd it right away. And I've also found this one on Pinterest. It was a bracelet like weaving pattern that I just converted to a cross stitch because it still uses pixels. And this is what it is. So this is Brutus from Ohio State University, their mascot. Or sorry, the Ohio State, I should say, their mascot. My future brother-in-law is a alum and he loves Ohio State, so I had to make him a little ornament to represent. So this actually was my first semi-full coverage piece. So it is 50 by I think like 42. It is 2,100 stitches. And it turned out 3.5 by 3. And I love how this turned out. This took me, just because it is a little full coverage, it took me about 4 work days to do it. And by work days, I really mean a total stitching of probably, one work day I probably get like 3 hours total of stitching in. So 3 times, 3 or 4, probably about 9 or 12 hours. Probably I rounded about like 10 or 11 if I had to be honest, but anyway, I digress. So this is what I made him, and then it just needed something a little extra, so I added some rickrack around, and then I backed it with just some plain red Kona. And I love how it turned out. It turned out super cute. All right. So those were my FFOs / new starts, and now I'm going to show you the rest of my new starts that I didn't FFO yet or finish. So my first one is Cat in the Jack by Stitching with the Housewives. Here's what it looks like. I don't have the pattern on me, but this is what mine looks like. So I took this to work, and this probably got a total of 2 hours stitching done. And I wanted to finish this for the month of October, but that did not happen since we are now into November. This is November 1st, so that didn't happen. So unfortunately, this probably won't get much more work done unless if I just need something quick after the holidays just to kind of go through my stash and finish. So this would probably be the last stitching this gets for this holiday season. But it's coming along really good. I like the colors. I'm using the called for DMC for this one, actually. So, yeah, but that's a Cat in the Jack by Stitching with the Housewives. My next new start is, let me get my book real quick. So it's called Snowflake, and it is part of the, or it's just cross stitch ornaments that they did for 2022. It's called All Is Well by Sarah Goodman Strobl. And this is what mine looks like. So I just have a 1/4 and a 1/2 of it done. I'd say 33%, to be honest, is where I'm at with it. And I want to give you, I'll link this down below as well. Her Etsy is Goodman Strobl Creates on Etsy. And there you can find all her patterns. So I will definitely link that down below. This one I am stitching on a 18 count white aida. Just because I wanted it to fit in a 3.5 inch circle round. And I needed a smaller fabric to do so. And again, this is All Is Well by Sarah Goodman Strobl. All right, next up, I have my December monthly weigh-in by Stitching with the Housewives. This is what it will look like. And then this is where I am on it. So I just have the tiniest start, only a couple threads. I only worked on this for probably an hour and a half. I had messed up. I had actually went down and stitched where the wreath is, but I had messed up the placement on that. So I had to unrip it all, and I was like, let me just start on the reindeer instead. So I started on the reindeer. If you have noticed, I actually skipped the November monthly weigh-in. I decorate for Halloween, not so much for fall. So with the November weigh-in being more fall themed and, you know, November turkey themed, I didn't decide to stitch that. So I just moved right on to December. So it gives me a little more time to stitch for the December weigh-in. So that way I can enjoy it a little more. And so I just decided to skip November, move right to December. So that is my start on the December monthly weigh-in. My next new start is a vacation start. So this past weekend, I went to Frankenmuth, Michigan with my husband's family. We had a fabulous time. Absolutely loved it. I recommend going. We went to the world's largest, I believe definitely America's largest Christmas store, Bronner's. Loved it. And we went on Halloween weekend for a Christmas event. So that was like really cool. And I wanted something to commemorate that. So I actually found the absolutely most perfect pattern for a Halloween / Christmas new start. It's in the Christmas Ornaments 2022 edition. I have it right here. And this pattern is called Christmas Spirits by the Top Knot Stitcher. And I'm going to cover up what the pattern looks like. Sorry, the pattern, but this is what it's going to look like. Isn't that not the most perfect start for what I went for? It has Ghost for Halloween and Santa and a snowman for Christmas. I thought it was so perfect. I only got one night of stitching in a hotel room worth, and then a little bit on the road on the way back home. But this is where I'm at with it. So again, it's a little bit of a sad start. Oh, it matches my sweater. So it's a little bit of a sad start. Again, only got one day just because of how exhausted I was after when we went back to the hotel room. So I just got a little bit done, and I'm just using a stash conversion. I just picked out a red, 2 whites, and a black, I believe. Red, 2 whites, and a black, yeah. And I'm just using what I have in my stash for it. And then this fabric here, I dyed that myself. So this is, let me actually pull it out here. So this is a 14 count aida that I dyed royal blue. And look at the modeling on that. I just think that's so pretty. But love how it turned out. I followed the Stitching with the Housewives tutorial for Rit dyeing fabric. I will also link that down below. They just did a live with Fat Quarter Shop that I will link as well. That's another video. So they have 2 videos, I believe, for Rit dyeing fabric, and I follow their tutorial for that. This is not coffee dyed, it's just Rit dyed, the royal blue, and then I put it in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then I hung it to dry the rest and waited till it was fully dry to stitch on it. But yep, that is Christmas Spirits by the Top Knot Stitcher. I am obsessed with this one. I cannot wait to finish this. A part of me only wants to work on this when I go out of town, but another part of me is like, I want it on my tree this year, so I have a little bit of a dilemma there. I don't know which I'm going to do, but obviously I think I'm going to finish it just because it's going to be on my tree. Oh, because I'm using 14 count fabric, it calls for 32 count. I'm using a 14 count, so mine's going to end up a little wider. I'm still going to finish it as an ornament though. It would just be a flat fold ornament, and I might make a tutorial on how I do my flat folds. If you would like that, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. But yeah, so and then I have, we're almost done. I have one more new start. So my birthday, my 28th birthday, was on October 14th. And that was when I was supposed to have a video out. That's why it went a week. And then, like I said, I was in Michigan, so it got delayed again. And just life ends up happening. And, you know, things are hard. So, anyway, back to where this new start is. So my birthday, I wanted to do a new start for my birthday, and I really wanted to use kind of what I had, but also purchase at the same time. So I used fabric that I had in my stash that I had purchased actually for a different project, and then I went ahead and purchased some DMC fabric. And I'm sorry guys, I'm talking because I cannot get this zipper to come open. I was trying to stall, but apparently it decided to come open as soon as I turned it onto the camera. Okay, so anyway, enough rambling. This is Autumn on the Farm by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This is what it looks like. Absolutely love it. I am obsessed with it. Cannot wait. So I got 2 nights of stitching done on this. I am stitching this on a 25 count Lugana mushroom with the called for thread, all DMC, Classic Colorworks, and Weeks Dye Works. And this is where I got on it in my 2 days. So I feel like I actually got a lot done for how little I stitched on this. So I knew I wanted to start with the flower. So I started with the flower, got that done, and I wanted to get the part of the barn started. So I just followed my way down, made my way to the barn, made my way to the grass, and just kind of filled in a little bit. And so I really like how this one is turning out. I cannot wait to pick this back up when the holiday season is done for me. I have a lot going on right now for holiday stitchings, so this is going to be put on the back burner, but I absolutely love how it's turning out. And again, this is Autumn on the Farm by Primrose Cottage Stitches. That was my last new start. There was a lot of new starts that I had. I'm so sorry, but I was just in the mood to start all the things. And when I don't talk to you guys for 4 weeks, a lot adds up very quickly. So, I'm going to move on to my whips. I don't have that many whips just because I was working on new starts and then I finished them. And so I was kind of working on a lot during this time, but new starts, I have my horror icons. I said new starts. I meant my whips. My whips. I have my horror icons by Rebel Stitches on Etsy. This is what it's going to look like. And then this is where I am. So I actually am about maybe halfway, a little less than halfway done. So last time you saw it, I had Michael done, and now I went ahead and I did Leatherface, and I'm working on Ghostface now. And this is, it's easy to do. It's very much fill in stitches. So it's very easy to do while I'm watching a movie, which is what I've been doing. I've just been putting on a movie and going to town at this essentially. So that's what I'm going to continue doing. This is a gift for my dad for Christmas. So I'm on page 3 out of 4, just started page 3. So I really need to get the ball rolling on that. But part of the talk I wanted to talk about was that I'm pretty much monogamously going to be stitching on any Christmas projects that I have coming up. So I decided that, you know, this is a Christmas project, and then the next piece I'm going to show is a Christmas project, and then I have all of the ornaments I'm stitching for my family. So all of that is what I'm going to be focusing on until Christmas. So I'm pretty much going to be monogamously stitching this horror icon and my Midnights by Frizzy Lizzy Stitches, which I'm going to show here in one moment. I'm pretty much monogamously going to be stitching those, and if I need a little extra something for my sanity filled in there, that's when I'm going to bring out like the Cat and the Jack or something like that, like something smaller, so that way I can keep my sanity, I should say, because this holiday stitching is killing me. It's my first year stitching, and I didn't realize when I decided to do all of this what exactly goes in and how much goes into stitching. So this will be one of the only years that people will get homemade gifts from me like this. But anyway, so I'm going to be monogamously stitching my horror icons and then my Midnights, which leads me into my next whip, which is by Frizzy Lizzy Stitches. This is a Taylor Swift inspired cross stitch from her album Midnights. And I am stitching this on a 28 count Monaco that is dyed petal pink. And this is where I am on that. There you go. So last time you saw, I did not have much done. It's honestly been so long, I don't remember where I was last time. I think I only had maybe 1 or 2 of the dominoes done. But this time I have more dominoes, and then there's one over here that's getting lost. I have more dominoes, and then I filled in down here a little bit, and I started some of the little icons around. This one is, I'm trying to do a strand a day just so that way I can kind of keep up with it. That's not going too good. I'm going to try to be better about it, but because this again is a Christmas gift for my sibling that I need to get done. And it's fun. I'm not liking the fabric. I like the color I chose. I'm not liking that I chose a Monaco for it though. It's making it kind of go a little slower because the holes shrunk a little bit in the dyeing process. So it's more like a 30-ish count, I would say, because of how small the holes ended up shrinking. But I'm still really enjoying this. Like I said, I'm going to try to do a strand a day so that way I can get it done a little faster. The dominoes go by really easy. That's not the problem. The problem is these little icons for me and counting so much down or over to try to fill in the icons. So what I think I'm going to do is do all of the dominoes first and then do the icons. So that's what I think I'm going to do, and most likely that's what I'm going to do. I just need to figure it out and just do it. But anyway, that is me. That is, I just lost what it's called. Midnights. I am a hot mess today. That is Meet Me at Midnight by Frizzy Lizzy Stitches. Okay. Thanks for bearing with me, y'all. All right, and my last whip is one that I started for a Sal, and this is Autumn Quaker by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This is what it will look like. I am stitching this on the called for fabric, which is a 28 count Lugana mushroom, and I am using Classic Colorworks Fallen Leaves thread. This is what that looks like. And then this is where I am. So I actually did not get a whole lot done on this. I had counted wrong on this giant square. So I was like 24, 23, 24, 24, or whatever the count is. But I was basically one off, and took me forever to find out where my mistake was. I could not find out where my mistake was. It took me literally 2 days to find it out. And I thought I was going crazy. I thought the pattern was wrong. I was looking up pattern corrections for it. I was asking a Facebook group. Like, I could not figure it out. And then I finally figured it out, and I'm like, oh my God, it was just a miscounting on my part, literally 50 times. And I figured it out, but after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done stitching this. So my next goal is to fill in the right here, the square, and then just kind of move on from there. But that is Autumn Quaker by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And that was my last whip. And so if you stuck around through all of that, thank you so much. I know that was a lot to show. And I'm going to move on to haul next. I have a lot of haul. So let me, I'm going to break this up into little multiple sections here. So I'm going to start with my Frankenmuth haul. So while I was at Frankenmuth, I visited a couple quilt shops and then some cross stitch shops and just another a crafting store, yarn store. So while I was there, I went to the Quilts at the Marshall House, and that was such a cute place. I'll put photos and what videos I got at the end of the video if you wanted to see any of that, and I'll label them, what stores they were. But I went to the Quilts at the Marshall House, and while I was there, I got this pattern called Shifty Squares. I saw in person both of these quilts, and this darker quilt is actually what sold me on this pattern. So it is the darker quilt was made of batiks, and it was just so gorgeous. I had to get the pattern. So again, that's Shifty Squares, and this is by Denise Olson. And then I got some fat quarters to make some project bags out of. I got 2 by the Urban Chicks Halloween line. I got these 2. And then this one, I'm not sure who it's by, but I'm going to turn this one into a project bag for sure. This is what this one looks like. All right. And then so I picked up those. And then while we were there as well, we went to a Goodwill. And while I was at the Goodwill, I happened to find the unofficial Hocus Pocus cross stitch pattern book. And so I picked that up, and it was very cheap. You can see the price tag on it. And it has some amazing patterns in it. this is what some of the patterns they have. I will definitely be making this one for sure. And then there's a couple more in here I'll definitely be making. We went to a place called the Little Yarn Shop in Saginaw, Michigan. And while I was there, I got a pair of knitting needles so that way I can learn how to knit. And then I got this yarn. It's hand-dyed yarn from, I cannot pronounce it, Biricolis. It's a aida mini called Fall Harvest, but this is what it looks like. It is gorgeous. So what I'm going to make with this is I'm actually going to make, I've never knitted before. It's going to be my first time knitting. I've crocheted, I cross stitch, I quilt, I do a little bit of everything except for knitting. Knitting intimidates me because of the 2 needles, but I'm going to try to do it. And I'm actually going to be making a little mug koozie, so that way it just fits hot beverages and I could just put it on and just hold it. So that's what I'm going to do with that. And then we went to a cross stitch store called the Stitch in Time in Saginaw, Michigan. Sorry, yeah, Stitch in Time in Saginaw. And while I was there, I loved it. Let me just tell you that I loved it. They had so much. I did not even look at a fourth of it. And it was overwhelming, but in a good way. Like, I felt like I could just stay in there all day and still not see everything. So while I was there, they had a display of Autumn Lane Stitchery patterns and their finished projects. And my husband went with me and he was like, I really like that one. Like, I really like that one. So because he liked it, that's giving me permission to buy it. So I went ahead and bought it, the pattern. And so this is Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And I love this one. My husband loves it, so this one will probably be a all year product in our house, to be honest, once it's done. But I'm hoping to start this one next year in the fall. So because it screams fall, so I'm very excited for this, and I am definitely going to start this next year. And then I picked up Stitchy Witchy Bell Pull by Stitch Pros. I have never heard of this designer, and so this one really stuck out to me. I really like bell pulls, and Stitchy and Witchy right up my alley, so I had to get it. And then while I was there, they had the most gorgeous display of fabric. It was a little overwhelming how much fabric that they had, and I wanted to get something a little different. So I actually was, I was looking through everything, and I got a painter's thread fabric called Mary Ann. This is made in Europe, and I just got a little square of it, but this is what it looks like. And I have no idea what I'm going to use for it. It's just going to sit in my stash, but I was obsessed with it and I just had to have it. So that was my Michigan haul. And so Witches Garden Crafts, their Facebook group is hosting a SAL. The Yule Sal starting on November 11th, and I got fabric to go with it from Witch's Garden. This is a dark and stormy opal 14 count, and if you look up close, you can see the opal in it, the glitter, the shine. It's gorgeous. I am obsessed with this, and I am just so excited to see what the stitching is going to be. I love mysteries, and so this is the one of the top things I'm really excited for. And it's also going to be one of the first few sales that I'm participating in, so I'm very excited. I got this layer cake, Tulip Pink Neon True colors. I got this from Mojave Farms Quilting Company. I am a test stitcher for them, and they just did, they're releasing a pattern on 11/11 that I helped stitch for. And as a thank you, this is what I got sent, and I am obsessed with this. I love Tulip Pink, and I have no idea what I'm going to make, but it's very neutral fabrics. You can see there's stripes, there's dots, there's just, you know, polka dots. I have no idea what I'm going to make, so send me any layer cake patterns that you think would look good with this. Like I said, my birthday was on October 14th. My husband, as a birthday gift, got me Autumn Love by Lori Holt. I saw this as part of Stitchtober last year for Fat Quarter Shop, and I was watching the video with him when he was in the room, and he loves this pattern as well, and so he bought it for me. And then I bought, we went to a quilt shop in Greensburg, Indiana, called Tree City Stitches. And while I was there, I got the Quilted Witch cross stitch pattern. And then I got this fabric, a half yard of this fabric. And then on our way home from there, we stopped at a Goodwill. And at the Goodwill, I found some cross-stitch goodies. I found perforated paper. I've never worked with perforated paper before, so I'm very curious as to how it stitches up. So send me any suggestions that you may have for perforated paper. I'm very excited about this. And then I found, it's called Transgraph X. It takes a photo and converts it to a cross stitch pattern. So I know there are apps for this. I know, but just in case if I don't have access to an app or something, I decided to grab it. And basically you lay a sheet like this over top of your image, and it converts it to a cross stitch grid. And so I thought that was really cool. Yeah, there are plenty of apps that you can use. I just thought it was something cool, and you don't see a whole lot of crafty things at Goodwill a whole lot of times. So anytime I do, I make sure I snatch things up. Monthly clubs, I got the Fabric Flare Gray Fairy Dust. This is what it looks like. And I will be stitching some small ornaments on this for sure for my tree for next year. This is just perfect, and blues and reds and greens are just going to pop right off of this. For my birthday as well, my best friend, she ended up giving me a creepy cross stitch book so I could return mine to the library. So she ended up getting me this. I am currently making a pattern in this called, I actually turned right to it, a Trick or Treat. This is one of the patterns I'm making for it, well, from it. And so she got me this. From Fat Quarter Shop, I got a Ultimate Pounce pad, so that way I can mark 4 quilts. I got Christmas Trees and Stitching Please, the new pattern by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And then I got some jelly rolls. I got Forest Frolic from Robin Pickens. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fall colors. I am obsessed with this. And then I got Haunted Adventure by Beverly McCullough. And I thought this one was super cute too. All right, so that was my haul, and I believe that's all I have. Again, a lot. I had a question a couple videos ago, and I wanted to answer the question. I kept forgetting to answer it in a chat, so I just figured I'd just put it in the video. So I got asked, how do I manage my scrap storage? And I don't know if you can see, but up here, I have a whole bunch of containers for my scraps. I have different bins. They look like this, and they're labeled with what is in them. So I have a 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5, and 7-inch bins for my scraps. And basically what I do, I cut, when I'm done with a project, I will cut the remaining into the whatever size that it is, however many pieces I can get out of it, and then I put it in its respective storage space, and it just sits up on my shelf up there until I'm ready for it. These are really good for finishes, for cross stitch finishes. I basically don't buy anything new for cross stitch finishes. Fabric wise, I pull what I have from my stash in my scraps. And then I had a giveaway. My first giveaway was sponsored by my local LNS and quilt shop, Always in Stitches. Again, thank you guys so much for helping out and sponsoring this giveaway. And I pulled a winner, and I will put the winner right here. So make sure that you send me your address, so that way I can go ahead and get that shipped out to you as soon as possible, so that way you can get stitching as soon as possible. All right, so I think that is actually all that I have. Thank you for sticking around if you made it this far. If you made it this far, leave me a blue heart. And I will hopefully see you guys in 2 weeks with some more stitching progress. All right, thank you guys. Bye.